What's happening? It is a Sunday night, and I had to do this. I had to do this podcast following that Bruins loss. Bruins lose to the Panthers 3-2 at TD Garden tonight. They're now down 3-1 in this series. It's obviously not looking good, and let's begin with the biggest horse bleep of the night, and that is the missed call. The obvious missed call. If you're watching this game, Sam Bennett cross-checks Charlie Coyle right there in the crease. Coyle falls on top of Jeremy Swayman. Bennett then puts the puck the back of the net and gets the goal. And somehow, some way, this play is reviewed and they don't wipe the goal away. There's absolutely 0 sense made by not wiping that goal away. It was a clear cross-check. It is the definition of a cross-check. Coyle falls on top of Swayman. That is clear goalie interference. I don't know how you expect Swayman to peel Coyle off of his back and then make a save all within about, a second and a half. That is a brutal missed call on the ice. It is a brutal missed call after the replay. And, of course, then you stack penalty on top of penalty because it was not overturned. So the Bruins somehow, some way get screwed on that missed call. And then on top of that, they have to go on another penalty kill. Just absolutely brutal. The league explanation was hilarious. The TBS crew went over it. They said the league told them that they had deemed the contact not enough contact. Really? That's what we're doing now. There was not enough contact after that cross-check. Coyle did not make enough contact on Swayman to deem that goalie interference. Then what in the blue hell is goalie interference? If that's not goalie interference, I don't know what is. A human was lying on top of the goaltender. How is that not interfering with the play? That explanation from the league was a joke. It was hilarious. It was absolutely ridiculous. Not enough contact. A crossbody, a flying crossbody from Charlie Coyle on top of Swayman is not enough contact. Then I want to know what enough contact is. Do you have to smash the goaltender in the head with the stick? Do you have to drop kick him with your blades? What do you need to do? Do you need to grab him by the throat and carry him out of the crease? I mean, I don't understand that. Absolutely atrocious from the officiating crew. And the fact that it was Bennett makes it even worse because now Bennett gets away with a cheap shot to Brad Marchand. And if you saw in the pregame, TBS had this angle that showed clearly Bennett punched Marchand in the face. Clearly punched him in the face. And no discipline for Sam Bennett. He should not even be on the ice tonight to begin with. Then he cross-checks Coyle, and you let him get away with that, and you allow him to have that goal to tie up the game 2-2. It is so infuriating. And please, save me the time about Brad Marchand, okay? I understand Marchand's track record. I understand Marshy has had a number of different plays you can look at and say they are dirty plays, but Marchand was punished by the league for those plays. He was disciplined. Bennett was not disciplined. And by the way, just because Marchand did some terrible things and played undisciplined hockey and did some dirty things on the ice doesn't mean that Bennett can do it to him. Remember when you were growing up and your mom used to tell you 2 wrongs don't make a right? 2 wrongs don't make a right. Because Marchand hit somebody with a flying elbow during a game doesn't mean that Bennett can just go punch him in the face. How about a play is dirty, a play is dirty? Whether it's Marchand doing it, Bennett doing it, my cousin doing it, a dirty play is a dirty play. I don't understand why people try to move the goalposts and they want to talk about Marchand's history. We all understand the history. Does that mean that you can take that guy out? So it's okay for people to just punch him in the face. It's okay. Just slit his Achilles with your blade because he has had a couple of dirty plays, however many on his record. It just makes no sense. It's easy to me, okay? Take the sweater off. It doesn't matter who's playing for who. A dirty play is a dirty play. A dirty play should be disciplined by NHL player safety. Bennett was not disciplined for a dirty play, and it was clearly a dirty play, especially the angle we saw today. So he should not be on the ice tonight, but he's on the ice, and then he gets away with the cross-check. It's just infuriating. Let the players decide this game. This is a huge, huge game. Now you've got the Bruins down 3-1. This should have been 2-2. This game, not the series, this game should have been 2-2 going into overtime. The officiating crew blew it. The NHL review system blew it. Fact. And I'd be saying the same thing if the Bruins cross-checked Tkachuk on top of Bobrovsky. I'd be saying the same damn thing. You can't miss a call like that, and they missed it twice. That is brutal. Let the players decide. Let it get to overtime. Let them win or lose on the ice. That should have been 2-2 going into OT. And Swayman deserves better. Jeremy Swayman continues to be outstanding in this series, and the guy can't catch a freaking break. He's got to deal with 45 penalties from his team, which we'll talk about in a minute, because that blown call on Bennett is not the reason why the Bruins lost this game, okay? Because that blown call in the terrible review doesn't excuse 3 Bruins to let Barkov go right down the middle of the ice and not get a body on him and finish by Swayman. That's on DeBrusk, right? That's on the 3 Bruins that were running into each other. Lowry was another one. That can't happen. But let's get back to Swayman. Dude's been terrific. He's been absolutely terrific in this series, and the young man can't catch a break. He's got to kill off 25,000 power plays. He's got to deal with his defensemen allowing Panthers to get behind them. It happened earlier in this game with McAvoy, and Swayman had to make a tremendous save in the first period. McAvoy had that great hit. I tweeted that hit out. It was tremendous. He laid the wood. He leveled him, right? He absolutely leveled Reinhart. But then a couple of minutes later, he's allowing a Panther to get behind him. And it's a clear breakaway, one-on-one. Swayman with an unbelievable stop. Swayman has been awesome. He has been awesome this entire postseason. And it doesn't matter. You're down 3-1 to Florida because everybody else on the ice can't get out of their own way. So I feel for Swayman, man. I thought he made a bunch of great saves again tonight. Yes, he let one soft one go tonight. That was a tough one. That's a tough goal to give up. But nobody is flawless. And Swayman is the only reason why some of these games have even been close throughout the Toronto series and now this series against Florida with tonight's game. I mean, that's all Swayman. So I feel awful for him because Swayman's been terrific. He deserves better. He deserves more from his teammates. All right, as we continue to do this post-game podcast about the Bruins losing to the Panthers 3-2 to the TD Garden, take a second of your time. Give us that thumbs up. More likes means more eyeballs, which is how we beat that algorithm at YouTube. So give us that thumbs up. Subscribe as well. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, trying to get to 3,500 subscriptions. We're over 3,200. Slow push to that, but give us that like, give us the subscription. And also, if you're listening on Spotify and Apple Pods on demand, don't forget to rate and review. The Bruins, undisciplined. Undisciplined. Again, the Bennett thing was ridiculous. It was horse bleep. Should have never happened. Should have been called live. Then the goal should have been wiped and he should have been sent to the box. We all understand that. But that is not the reason why the Bruins lost this game. They could still be playing in overtime right now if they didn't screw up, the officiating crew didn't screw up that call with Bennett. But that's not why the Bruins lost. The Bruins lost for a number of reasons. And really, you got to look at their discipline or lack thereof tonight. And I know many of us watching wanted Bennett to get absolutely railroaded into the boards. We wanted strong hits like McAvoy levied early in this game. We all wanted to see that physicality. We all wanted to see the nasty, mean forechecking. We all wanted to see that contact. We love when Pat Maroon is calling the entire bench of Florida. Let's go. One of you guys step up. And notice, not a single one did. Bennett was challenged not once but twice. He was challenged by Frederick early in the night. He wanted nothing to do with it. He was challenged by Maroon later than that. He wanted nothing to do with it. As the broadcast crew was telling me how, oh, poor little Sam Bennett has a broken finger. Well, you know what? Don't sucker punch people on the ice. And maybe you won't be called to fight by the other team. But anyway, undisciplined. I thought there was a lack of discipline from the Bruins tonight. And this has been an issue, as we know, in this series. Florida has lived on the power play. Power play after power play after power play. The Bruins can't stay out of the box. And they have to do a much better job than that. I know people were all fired up about Pasta, throwing a punch earlier. You can't put Florida on the power play. You have to be smarter than that. I want the physicality. And I would love to see somebody fight from that Florida team. Somebody, anybody on that bench. Grow a pair and get out there and actually fight. But that's not happening. And you can't lose your cool. You can't allow that to get to you and have undisciplined play. So, Pasta to the box. Lindholm to the box, not once but twice. Hampus Lindholm continues to struggle. Struggling. McAvoy and Lindholm continue to not give this team consistent hockey. So there was Lindholm getting sent out a couple of times because of interference calls. Then you have Morgan Geekie. What is going on with Morgan Geekie? Where was he? He had no clue where he was on the ice. He literally just skates backwards right into Bobrovsky. Goalie interference to the box. How do you not know where you are? You're in a playoff game. This game, for all intents and purposes, was a must-win. You don't want to go down 3-1 to Florida. How did you lose your way on the ice? How did you not know where you were? How does that happen? So he gets sent to the box. Florida had 6 power plays tonight. 6. And yes, you can wipe away one of them because of the trash replay, gifting them another one. So let's say 5. In reality, they had 6, but they should have had only 5. But 5 is too many. You cannot continue to send the power play unit out there. Your penalty kill has not been good enough to sustain that kind of rush. Now, fortunately, you only gave up 1 power play goal, and it shouldn't have been given up because it was Bennett after cross-checking Coyle. But we went through that already. And I don't want to have a heart attack live on YouTube. Not the way I want to go out. But the discipline just wasn't there. And the same problems we've seen. The Bruins, for whatever reason, don't want to shoot the puck. They don't want to shoot the puck. Bobrovsky hasn't been great. I could sit there and listen to the Florida coaching staff tell me, oh, well, Bobrovsky's been fantastic. Come on now. Guy's not facing any shots. The Bruins are not getting pucks to the net. They had the power play late in the third period tonight. I don't mind a little bit of patience, but way too much patience. These guys are waiting for the perfect shooting lane to let the puck go. Rip it. Throw it to the net. Crazy things can happen. We've seen it. Chicago. Stanley Cup final years ago, right? Puck to the net off a blade. What do you know? Back of the net. Get the puck to the net. They're not shooting the puck. They had 2 or 3 shots until the final minute in that third period. Right? 2 shots in the third period of a must-win game at home. That's not the officiating crew. That's not Sam Bennett. That's not Matthew Tkachuk. The Bruins just will not shoot the puck. You have to get the puck to the net. Challenge Bobrovsky. Get some front of the net presence. Get on top of that crease and make life difficult. Get a deflection. Anything can happen. But they're holding the puck. Never shooting. Low ride dancing with the puck. McAvoy dancing with the puck. They look like, Nancy Kerrigan out there on the ice, skating around. What are you waiting for? The Russian judge to give you an 8.3? Shoot the puck. I don't understand it. There's a balance between patience and doing nothing. Shoot the puck. Not rocket science here. Put pressure. Put pressure on the goalie. Make Florida Try to come up with some plays defensively instead of screwing around the thing at the blue line. It's infuriating. It's some of the same problems. Undisciplined, sending those guys to the power play a ton, not getting enough shots off. Did you know that four Bruins tonight managed to get more than one shot off tonight? Four Bruins registered more than one shot. Only four. Last time I checked, you have 12 forwards. One-third of your team managed more than one shot tonight in a must-win on home ice in front of a hot crowd. That's ridiculous. That is inexcusable. Zach is a mess. Pavel Zach is a mess. I don't know. What is he doing for this team right now? He's not winning many puck battles, if any at all. He has not been very good with the puck on his stick. We all know he can't score. A guy cannot score. He can't score in the postseason. He's never scored in the postseason. I don't think he'll ever score in the postseason. Now, hopefully he has 3 goals. He has a hat trick on Tuesday night, and I've got egg on my face. But Zacha is giving you nothing. There's so many guys on this team that are giving you nothing. Yeah, I thought Frederick, Heinen, Coyle, thought they played well. But Zacha's a no-show. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. McAvoy's a -2 tonight. Of course he is. Again, great hit early in the game. Got the team going a little bit. But a -2. McAvoy, -2. You're getting paid as what, a top 5 defenseman in the league? He has to be better. Most of them have to be better. 90% of this team has to be better. I'm telling you, if Swayman wasn't as great as he's been, it would be even uglier, folks. That's why I get frustrated and I get angry about that terrible missed call on Bennett tonight. But it doesn't mean we can't criticize the team. We can criticize many different things, right? So, yeah, that call blew chunks. And yes, that should have been wiped away. And yes, this game should have went into overtime, but the Bruins would have been fortunate to get to overtime if it got there. And they would have Jeremy Swayman to thank yet again. This team is not lifting up their goalie, folks. They are not lifting him up. He has been unreal. And he gave up a mid-goal tonight, and it's like, there you go. It bites him in the ass. They lose 3-2. He has to be flawless. He's got his own defenseman screening him in front. He's got deflections going off of knees and ankles and asses. This guy's doing everything he can. Toe saves, foot saves, pad saves, stick saves, helmet saves, shoulder saves. Swayman's a machine. And 95% of the team in front of him are lost. If Swayman wasn't as great as he's been, we'd be talking about this being even more off the rails. They can't get it out of the defensive zone. I thought early on, the first period and a half or so, they did a much better job of getting the puck out clean. I thought the second period, they did a pretty damn good job. I think they ended up with like 11 shots or whatever it was. In the second period, I think they got 11 shots on goal, I believe. But again, they go back to the old bad habits that we've seen. Not being able to get the puck out of the zone over and over and over again. Issues in the neutral zone. How many times does a Bruin have it on the stick and they can't get it up the ice to a teammate to get it into the offensive zone, to apply just a little bit of pressure on Florida? How many times do we see a Bruin with the puck on a stick and they turn it over? How many times? They throw a light, feathery pass in the middle of the ice with nowhere to go. They flop up a lollipop in the air and hope for the best when it comes down. How many times have we seen it? There's just not enough crispness to their play. Not enough tape to tape. Not enough clean entries. Not enough puck battles being won. All this stuff that we talk about. And that's what's going on here. You're not winning puck battles. You're not taking care of the puck for all 3 periods. You're playing undisciplined hockey. You're sending the other team into the power play over and over and over again. Your defensemen are not being disciplined on the ice. They're allowing guys to get behind them. They allow Barkov to go right through 3 because, going through 1 Bruin isn't enough. Going through 2 Bruins, it's not enough. No, the best is to go through 3 Bruins on your way to the goal that absolutely rips the heart out of your chest. 3 Bruins have a chance to put a body on Barkov, and they just let him mosey on in. 13 giveaways. 13 giveaways for the Bruins tonight. 13. More than Florida. If you were guessing, you got that guess right. More than Florida. When I watch this, it reminds me, and I'll talk about the Celtics on tomorrow's podcast because, man, what a response from the C's last night in Cleveland. Just great stuff from those guys. Tatum, attack mode. JB was excellent. But when I watch a team play, especially when we talk about the postseason, I want a team to play with purpose. And when you're watching this series, doesn't it just feel to you like the Panthers are the team that's playing with the purpose? Last night, the Celtics played with more purpose than Cleveland did. They played with more intention. And that's what Florida is doing. Florida, the vast majority of the last 3 games, they have imposed their will on the Bruins. They have played with more purpose. They have played, minus Sam Bennett's cheap shot, they have played with more discipline. They have played with more crispness on the puck. And you watch the 2 teams, and the one team that's playing with more purpose without a shadow of a doubt in this series, it's the Florida Panthers. And you might have 2 or 3 minutes. You might have a decent stretch from the Bruins where they show some purpose. But overall, it's just not enough. It's not enough. Even with a hot hand in goal, it's not enough. Because the Panthers are just playing with more purpose. They're taking it to the Bruins. It's as simple as that. They're taking it to the Bees. And it has a lot to do with your defensemen. When your top defensive pairing is not playing as well or nearly as well as they should be, that sets the tone. When you've got McAvoy posting a -2 again on the plus-minus tonight, it's the same old, same old. Let's be honest with this. It's going to take a miracle. It's going to take a miracle for this series to get back to Boston. It really is. It is going to take a miracle for the Bruins to go down to Florida and beat the Panthers. It's not impossible. But the way the Panthers are playing, they have been, no doubt, there's no shadow of a doubt, they have been the better hockey team in this series. It's not even a debate. They have been the better team. It's like the Bruins, they have spurts. The beginning of this game, I thought the beginning of this game, they had that spurt, right? They had that purpose. Third period the other night, after they're getting their doors blown off. Finally, in the third period, they start to show a little bit of life. And they start to play with a little bit of purpose. They give you that for a few minutes. But they just have not been able to give you 60 minutes of good, consistent, purposeful hockey. They just haven't. And that's why they're down 3-1. The officiating hasn't helped, but that is down the list, folks. It is down the list of what's going on. They have to be better. Florida's been dominant the last 3 games. Dominant. James Kenny asks, coaching change? I don't think so, James. I think, in the big picture, you look at this, and I think this is how Sweeney's going to look at this. You're going to say, okay, well, this was really a bridge year. Finished with 109 points. Got past the first round. played a Florida team that was better than us, and we lost in the second round. I don't think they're going to fire Montgomery because of that. I don't see it. Florida was favored in this series. The Bruins, again, this was kind of a kick the can down the road season. You brought in guys like Heinen last second. You brought in Geeky. You brought in JVR. You brought in Shattenkirk. You brought in all these older guys. You signed a bunch of short-term one-year deals with multiple guys. This season was pretty much thrown together. So if they lost to Toronto, if they lost that 3-1 lead against Toronto, I think Montgomery gets dumped. But the fact they won that series, I think Montgomery saved his job. And as we saw, Sheldon Keefe was the one that went outski. Walt Licker jumps in and says, looks like Florida Panthers versus Springfield Thunderbirds of the Baltimore Skipjacks. It hasn't been great. It hasn't been great. Amy jumps in. The best part of this game was when Carlo told Lindholm to pick up his friggin' head. Yeah, but, I just have I have no confidence in Lindholm being able to sustain good hockey. I just don't. And Amy, I know you personally. I know you feel the same way. And yeah, at least somebody's trying to get a rise out of Lindholm and trying to get him to pick up his play, but he's shown no signs. He has shown no ability to get out of this. If he was going to get out of this, it would have been a different Hampus Lindholm game 1, right? Game 7 against Toronto, he makes that big play, the stretch pass off the boards to Pasta for the game winner in overtime of game 7. He gets the goal to tie it up in game 7. That would have been the moment, right? That would have been the breakthrough for Lindholm. That would have been the moment where he took things over and he got his game back, right? Stella got her groove back. Lindholm got his game back. That's what it would have been in that moment. But he's fallen right back into the same level of play, which just isn't nearly good enough. And honestly, I'd be looking to move him. I would be looking to move him because he's been bad since last postseason. He hasn't been nearly good enough. And Mason Lowry is there. So, you are losing Grzelcyk, which isn't a big loss when you talk about postseason hockey, but you're already losing one left shot defenseman. Shattenkirk's gone, obviously. Do you feel good enough about Lowry to put him with McAvoy next year on that first pairing? I don't know. But I'd be looking around. I would be looking around. Val jumps in, says, Nick's right. The Bees got outshot 41-18. Bees fans complaining about the refs. Look, I don't have an issue with complaining about the refs. I just think you got to complain about all of it, Val. Because the refs deserve criticism. I am not letting the officiating off the hook for their awfulness in that third period with that play at the net when they failed to call the cross check on Bennett, and then the replay review ends up with a squadouche for the Bruins. They deserve criticism. The officiating crew in the NHL, they deserve criticism. They deserve the criticism for not disciplining Bennett for the punch to Marchand. But also, the Bruins deserve criticism. Their undisciplined play. Their defense not playing nearly good enough. Not getting enough pucks on net. Not getting enough shots off the stick to begin with. So I'm an equal opportunity kind of guy, Val. I will rip the officials from pillar to post, but I will also let people know that's not the reason why you're down 3-1. You have been outplayed. You've been outplayed, out-hit, out-coached, out-executed. But the officiating, they deserve a lot of crap for tonight. And they deserve a lot of crap for what happened with Bennett the other night. And the NHL player safety deserves a bunch of crap. J1988, Celtics care. Our only hope, the fans are too busy bashing Tatum. Yeah. Look, I went through this last week on the podcast. Tatum's not shooting well. We all know Tatum's not shooting well. Anybody can tell you that. Tatum says it. Tatum knows. He's not shooting well. But you can't control sometimes the ball going into the bucket, right? You control your approach. You control your shot selection. You control your energy and your effort. And I think that Tatum has played the right way this postseason, beginning with the Miami series and in this Cleveland series. I think he has played the vast majority of the time the right way. I think he's been really good defensively, which people overlook. I don't know why. I think he's been really good on the glass. I think the playmaking that I've boasted about all year long from him has shown its face during this postseason, especially against Miami when they ran zone and he was getting doubled and he's finding guys. So, sometimes people look at the counting stats or they look at the shooting numbers that, oh, why is he not playing well? He's not doing enough. His plus minus when he's on the floor, when he's off the floor this postseason, it is clear that Jason Tatum has helped his team tremendously. And I wish we saw some of that from Lindholm. I wish we saw some of that from McAvoy, at least consistently. Sir Wentz comes in and said, did you see their official explanation? Yeah, it was ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. Absurd on every level. Nobody watching that, okay? Now you're going to get me all worked up again, Sir Wentz. Nobody watching that play with two eyes in any hockey sense would tell you that Swayman was not impacted by the cross-check. It's absurd. It is absurd to say that there was not enough contact to impact Swayman. There wasn't enough contact to result in interference. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. Nobody watching that would say that if they're being reasonable people. Nobody. Charlie Coyle was cross-checked in the back, and he literally fell on top of Jeremy Swayman. How you try to tell me that doesn't impact the play, that doesn't impact the goalie, is beyond me. It's awful. It's awful. Unequivocally terrible. And I have no idea who in the NHL office decided to give that explanation to the broadcast team. I don't know who TBS talked to. If I'm the NHL, I'm firing that person tomorrow. That's a fireable offense. That explanation, fireable offense. You're out. Get out. Because nobody watching that tonight thought that was on the up and up. Nobody. If you shot the entire Florida Panthers team with truth serum in the tuk-tuk, they would all tell you that was a cross-check, that was goalie interference, and they got away with one. Every single one of those Panthers, if they had to tell you the truth, if they were sitting there in a court of law, they would tell you cross-check, goalie interference, we got away with it. And the NHL, with this fakakta explanation, only made things worse. Because nobody watching that would say that was clean. Nobody. Just like nobody watching the Sam Bennett thing, the sucker punch. And I had to get people, on Twitter, of course, because it's Twitter. It's not the real world. We understand that. Twitter's not reality. But people are like, oh, you think that was a dirty play? Yeah, a sucker punch to a dude's head is a dirty play. And now the other angle came out tonight before the game, and now, it's pretty clear that it was a sucker punch and a cheap shot from Sam Bennett, and he should have been disciplined by the league. But again, not the reason why the Bruins are down 3-1. It's just not. It is just not. They still have to play better. They have to overcome that adversity. Sam Bennett gets that goal. We all agree that it was BS. But you can't allow Barkov to do what he does moments later. You can't let him get through three guys and score that goal. That's inexcusable. You can't allow something to impact your play to the point where you're losing a playoff game because of it. And so I think the Bruins have allowed some of that. They've allowed some of these non-calls. They've allowed the tenor of this series. They've allowed the Florida Panthers to get under their skin. The Panthers are doing exactly what they want to do to the Bruins. They are dominating this series because they're doing what they want to do. They want to be physical. They want to out-hit you. They want to get under your skin. Matthew Tkachuk wants to be the hair across your ass. every single second of every single shift that he's out there on the ice, and he's doing what he wants to do, and he's getting in your head, and this team is outplaying you. Now, the officiating, again, no excuse for them. If they stink, they stink, and they stunk with that Bennett call. They stunk, or non-call. But you can't let that trickle down. You can't let it pick up momentum going down the hill. And that's what it felt like. It felt like as soon as that play wasn't wiped off, as soon as they said, nope, that goal is going to stand, it felt like for the next 7-8 minutes, the Bruins just were kind of shell-shocked. They took a bad penalty. They wouldn't shoot the puck. How about the other annoying part? They're wasting more than like a minute of play when it's a delayed penalty. They're just screwing around with the puck for like a minute. It's like, you got to go. Again, it's like this. It's this approach where they're waiting for something perfect. They're waiting for the perfect opportunity. They're waiting for the seas to part and have a clear look at Bobrovsky. So on the power play, they're messing around with the puck, not getting shots on net. They have a delayed penalty. They're screwing around the neutral zone for about 45 seconds, just doing laps. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? If you're just going to sit there and skate around the neutral zone on a delayed penalty, just give the puck to Florida and get the man advantage and start doing work with your power play units. Why are you wasting time? They wasted valuable time just going around in circles in the neutral zone on that delayed penalty. It's just, man, brutal. All right, that'll do it. I'm going to go get myself a snack. 3-2, Bruins lose. They're back on the ice Tuesday night, 7 p.m. puck drop. Obviously, they lose. They're done. So hopefully they play discipline. Hopefully the defensemen show up. Hopefully someone helps Jeremy Swayman out for the love of God and all that is holy. Hopefully that happens. Hopefully you enjoyed this postgame. Give us that thumbs up. Don't forget to give the thumbs up to support the podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Rate and review on Spotify and Apple Pods. Always appreciate that. Have a good night. As good of a night as you can have after this one. It's a tough one. We got C's tomorrow. Going to get right back on the horse. Hopefully C's take care of business tomorrow night. I'll talk about them tomorrow on the podcast as well. But until then, I'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. This has been the Nick Cattle Show special Bruins postgame podcast edition.